Good morning, everybody. My name is Carla, and you've reached my FlossTube channel, KarlaBeingCrafty, where I talk about mostly cross stitch, but also other crafts that I enjoy and a little bit of life thrown in. Today is my FlossTube number 145. It is Sunday, June 12th, a bright, warm day here in Southern California. Our weather has been in the high 80s, early 90s all week. Definitely getting into that summer weather, and here I am wearing long sleeves. This is not going to last very long, I can tell you that. When I'm done with this video, then I think I'm going to be putting on a tank top or something, because it is getting warm. It's getting warm, and I definitely feel the heat in my apartment. I do have a second floor apartment, so heat rises, and I also have like these whole wall of windows basically that face out onto like the afternoon sun, so it gets really hot in here in the afternoons, winter and summer. I mean, it's good in the winter because my apartment never gets like chilly, but in the summer it is warm in here. I don't know if you just heard that meowing. Baggy is at my feet, so we'll see if I mentioned his name and he's up and he's rubbing. Okay, don't rub on my project. I get enough cat hair without him actually depositing it in person. Okay, so let me say welcome. If this is your first time finding my channel, I hope that you like what you see, you want to hit like and subscribe, all that stuff, and stick around. Come visit with me every week. I don't think I could do an everyday video. I unless I work from home, then it might be a little bit easier, but yeah, I'm very glad to have you here, and those who are regular viewers and subscribers, welcome back. So nothing too exciting is going on right now. I told you guys that my boss and my coworker, who is my boss's sister, were going to be leaving to go on a three full weeks in the Philippines to take care of some family business. So they left like half day on Monday, and so I've been alone for the rest of the week. It's a little weird being alone in the office all day, I gotta say. I do get work done, but I kind of do work in spurts, and then I kind of like, you know, read something on the computer for a while and then work in spurts. It's very weird being in that much quiet, which is funny because I'm alone all day at home and everything, but I do have the TV on all the time. Even if I'm not listening to, even if I'm not really watching it, I just have it on. So it's a little weird to be at the office in that environment. I have the radio on, I have videos on sometimes because I can put them on volume when there's nobody else there, but it's a little weird, I gotta say. I got 2 more weeks alone, and yeah, so nothing too exciting there, just what it is. Of course, I got a notice on my door yesterday about my apartment wanting to come in and do another like not termite, roach treatment, a gel treatment, which is no big deal, but I don't want people coming into my apartment when I'm not here. And of course they scheduled it for this week when I have to be at work, so I called them and I'm like, can you please move it to the 30th? Which they accommodated me. That wasn't too much of a problem, but it's like, I should have known. I should have known that something was going to come up where they were going to say that, that something was going to happen while I had to be at work. So luckily I was able to change that. I was supposed to go over to my brother's this weekend, and I did not go. Aaron called me on Thursday and said that he was having some stomach issues that day, which he didn't think was anything, but he wanted to let me know. And also Logan had been officially exposed to COVID, and Logan is vaccinated and boosted, and they all had COVID over a couple months ago. But I just felt, as people say, abundance of caution. I am out in the world, but there's a difference between being out in the world and like wearing your mask when you go into a store or something, and going someplace where you know specifically somebody has been exposed. I just think that you know, and the thing is like, even though I have had the vaccine and I've been boosted, I haven't got my second booster yet, but I was like, I can't get sick. I can't even get a cold sick. I mean, I would have to go to work with a cold and not feel well, because I have to go there. I mean, we can't have the office with nobody there. So I decided that it would be better for me to not go over to spend the weekend with them. Reagan had a friend over the whole weekend anyway, because her best friend is moving. This is a different friend that's moving than the one I've talked about before, but her best friend is moving next weekend, I think. So they've been spending every weekend together, and so she had her friend over all weekend, and so it's just as well for me not to create more chaos in the house. We did do a D&D game on Zoom, and it was just me and Logan and Aaron, because again, Reagan had her friend over, so she consented to you know, be a non-player character for that day, as long as, you know, her dad didn't get her killed. So so we had a fun time doing that. And yeah, so, you know, nothing too exciting is happening in my world. Two like business things. First of all, I want to give a big thank you to Faye for using the Buy Me a Coffee link below, and sending me a little monetary appreciation that way. I do have a link for both Buy Me a Coffee and Ko-Fi. Ko-Fi's been there, nobody's used it, so I have no idea even how it works. And then the other thing is, which is a new thing on YouTube, which I think is kind of cool, is there's a link below. I think there's like a little dollar sign or something below the picture of YouTubers if they sign up for this, and you can directly tip. It's like a tip feature that you can tip people on their YouTube videos. So that is there too. If anybody wants to show me any kind of monetary appreciation, if you want to give me a tip basically for putting out these videos every week, then those are the places you can do it. Of course, it is not required. I appreciate every penny that I get, and it does go back into the channel in the form of postage usually, for stuff I send out, but it's there if you want to use it, and I do appreciate it, although it's completely not necessary. But thank you, Faye. She's the one who won the giveaway last week, and she hasn't got it yet because I haven't mailed it yet, but I did remember to put it in my purse, so I will get it out next week in the mail. So it's coming, Faye. Just be patient on that. I got the first hurdle out of the way. I put it in my purse, so there you go. And then the other piece of business is I just want to remind you guys about our Zoom Stitchy Meetup that's coming up at the end of June. It's going to be on Sunday, June 26th at 2 p.m. California time. So I'll be doing my video and then doing Zoom with you guys. So that's going to be a full Stitchy day for me. And I'm looking forward to it. You know, I started this kind of on a whim, and then now I'm really enjoying doing it. And we have people that rotate through. I mean, some people, I don't think anybody's been able to go to every single one except for me, which is fine. But you know, we usually have about, I would say 8 to 10 people on, and have a good time just stitching and chit-chatting basically. And it's just a fun way to get together with people that that you can't see in real life. I mean, I don't do a lot of in real life stuff anymore anyway, but it's fun to be able to get together with people on Zoom. Now, one thing, and I did say this at one point on one of my things, caveat, you know, I know all you guys through your comments and things like that. Obviously, if you have a YouTube channel that I watch, then I know you that way. But for subscribers that don't also appear, it takes me a while to get to know you. Like, in other words, to be able to put the person that I know with the face on the screen. So sometimes I feel like people are talking to me like, you know, we're old friends, and I'm sure we've communicated a bunch of times through the comments and maybe even Instagram or whatever. But it's gonna take a little while in my brain. So if I, you know, don't ever take anything as me being blowing you off or being insulting or anything like that, it's gonna take a while for me to actually know people. So I'm getting to, though. I mean, there's definitely a couple people that have met with me enough times on Zoom, and who I've talked to enough times through Instagram and through comments, that now the name and the face are together, and they're real people as opposed to, like, you know, subscribers. So hopefully a lot more of you will eke your way into my brain that way, and yeah. So I mean, that's just a caveat. Realize that there's only one of me, and there's a bunch of you guys out there who I talk to, and so it takes a while just to connect the people in my head. But I'm loving it. I'm loving making all the friends through Zoom that I have been. So I think that's it. I think that's it as far as, you know, life stuff. Nothing, like I said, nothing exciting is happening. I didn't have a cat standing on my head this morning, a little bit, but not as bad as he was last week. I got him some new cat food this week, and decided to start giving him a little bit of wet food again at night for dinner, along with his dry food. And of course, you know, you do that 2 days in a row, and now it's like I put the dry food in his dish at night, and then I go to get the little, and they're the tiny cans, right? And he'll like sniff at the food, the dry food, and then look at me like, where's the can? And he was doing that this morning too, and I'm like, no, we don't get the canned food in the morning, we just get dry food in the morning. So he kind of like gave me a look, and then finally settled down to eat his dry food. But he's enjoying that, so I have a contented kitty, and I changed his dry food out to try and accommodate the fact of his age and sedentariness, to maybe slim him up a little bit, because he doesn't eat very much, to be quite honest. He doesn't eat very much food at all, but he is a little rotund, so I'm gonna try and address that a little bit. Okay, so as I said yesterday, I did a Zoom with my brother, which meant I was sitting here, and it was a great opportunity to work on my little golden books. And while I was actually on the Zoom call, I couldn't do anything that was too mentally stimulating. I mean, I just needed to, you know, I needed to pay attention to the game. So I made spines, because that's kind of a more chore type part of making the journals. And it's just, you know, measuring and cutting. So, but I got a lot of them actually made. I made a whole little stack here. I got half of them. So I have 4 more that I need to actually puncture using that new tool that I got. It actually isn't very hard to do, but after, you know, I did 4 or 5 of them, it was kind of hurting my hand a little bit, so I left the others. But yeah, I got a bunch of spines made, which is good. So 9 is going to keep me going a little bit. And I worked on 2 books yesterday. I don't have really anything to show you yet, because it's not put together enough to kind of show you. But I did work on 2 books, and I got the covers prepared, and then I pulled all the papers, and I started putting the middles together. But you know, I haven't gotten to the sewing or decorating part. Although I did use my new stickles to just enhance, I guess is the word I want to use, some of the papers. So let's see. And I think it's kind of cool. So I just had this paper, which is cute paper to start with. It's a donut paper. And I'm actually making a book for Michelle Garrett and one for her daughter, Rosie. Michelle was so nice to send me a chart after my mom passed away. So I really wanted to, you know, make something for her. So I'm doing this. I'll show you when I'm done. But I had this donut paper, and so I had to use the donut paper, even though it totally doesn't go with the theme of the book, because the theme is, it's a Star Wars book, but you know, these are space donuts. So but anyway, so it was this regular paper, but I used, I don't know if you can see the glitter, but I just used a little bit of the stickles just to like enhance the paper a little bit. And I just found a couple places to, you know, add a little sparkle, which was kind of fun. You know, it was kind of fun to look at like the regular paper that doesn't have any glitter on it, and then just, you know, add a little touch. So that's gonna be a fun thing for me to do. The only difficulty with it is, of course, you can't like do it in the book and then turn the page. You have to let it dry. So it's kind of like do a little bit and then do something else so that each page can dry. So yeah, so I did work on two golden books yesterday. Pretty much all day. I mean, I sat down here and kept thinking, oh, I'll just do like an hour or so, and I just was getting into it, and was sitting here way longer than I should have, because my knees and stuff, just the position that my body is in, it's not as good. I don't know if you guys have this issue. I definitely, when the summertime and the weather starts getting hotter, I have more of an issue with my feet getting a little bit swollen. So I need to, I actually just ordered some Epsom salts with peppermint and some peppermint foot lotion, so I can start kind of like trying to get rid of that. I need to drink more water. I looked up all this stuff, like what do you do when your feet swell, because you know, diabetes also contributes to that. And what's funny is like I only get it in one leg, and it's like the better, like, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. But I've had like feet swelliness since I was like in my 20s occasionally, and I hate it because it's like I've always liked shoes. I don't wear high heels anymore because of my knees. Excuse me. But you know, I love pretty shoes, and I hate it when my feet look all like swollen and like, you know, poofing out of the shoe or whatever. It's really, aside from the fact that it's not comfortable. So I'm gonna have to probably today not work at my desk and put my feet up a little bit more than, you know, just to make sure that kind of comes out. And then when my peppermint foot stuff shows up, then I'm going to try and massage it a little bit and get some of that lymphatic fluid out. Okay, so that was a little golden book update. And then the stuff I worked on, I didn't have any finishes or new starts this week or anything like that. And you know, it was one of those situations again where I was gonna like say, oh, I didn't really work on that much, but then I have this huge stack here. So I don't know if I am a prolific stitcher or not. I mean, I really don't. Sometimes I feel like I'm really slow and it takes forever to get things done. But then I look and it's like, okay, I accomplished a lot this week. So let me do this one first. This is my purse project. I did pull it out during lunchtime one day this week. Now, I know some people will say, you know, they have a travel project. I feel like I have a project now that I settled as my going over to Erin and Stacy's travel project, and I'm just keeping it in my go bag for there. But I always try and keep something in my purse. So basically, I don't work on it very often. It's a few and far between kind of thing. So it'll sit there for months and months and not get any stitches put in, and then I'll put in two for whatever reason. So I kind of settled on using the little Mill Hill ornament type things because they are small, easy to portable, easy to take with you. So I'm working on my pad. And then of course when I get the stitching, then I'll just bring it home and do the beading at home and change out. But I call it a purse project, not a travel project, because I always hear people talk about stitching, you know, in the car when they're traveling. And I think I've said it before, but I don't know how anybody does that. I would get so car sick. I mean, I would take two stitches and want to throw up. And I know some people have said that they stitch like at rest stops, and that, you know, when they're on a trip, they don't actually stitch, you know, during the ride. But I don't know. I hear enough people talk about car stitching and how they stitch, you know, when their family's going to church on a Sunday, and they'll stitch on the way to church and on the way home. I don't know how anybody does that. I mean, I can't even look at my phone. I can't do anything. I can't even really sit in the back seat. When I took that first trip with Aaron and Stacy to Arizona, I started out in the back seat, and we got about half an hour in, or maybe an hour in, and I was like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this without throwing up. And then my brother switched seats with me because he doesn't get car sick and doesn't mind being in the back seat. So now whenever we've gone on a trip, Stacy likes to drive for the same reason. She gets really car sick, and I get to sit in the front seat. So okay, so here is my big work on this, which is not a ton, but it's a start. It's a start. It also felt really weird to be stitching at work because I felt like I was doing something wrong. And I don't know why, because, you know, it's like I definitely, you know, can have a break and whatever, but it just, I don't know, it felt like I was doing something taboo, pulling this out while I was at work. Okay, so that was my work thing. Okay, what else did I work on? So Wednesday, now that I've started watching Five Bar It's Amy and Kitschy Whips, they have Chatelaine Wednesday, and when I'm scrolling through Instagram on Wednesdays and I see that come up, it reminds me like, oh yeah, I should work on that kind of thing. So I actually did work on this little Chatelaine. Again, this is not a freebie. It was a freebie at one point, so it's like a $5 pattern now, and it is my Italian street cats. So I outlined all the cats and basically finished this middle part, except for, okay, right in the middle, right here, there is a dog. And I mean, it says it on the pattern, it's like Italian street cats and a dog too. But the dog, I did him, and I hated him. He looked so, he's like tinier almost than the cats. The cats are more like implied. They're not like detailed, and with the dog it just didn't work. My stitching, not the pattern necessarily, but I ended up frogging 1/1 stitching on linen. It wasn't super fun, I gotta tell you. That part I was not enjoying, but I finished all the inside part. So now I think, I don't know if I should, tell me if I should put another cat right there, or if I should just leave it if it looks fine. And then I did another lemon and started some more, and I actually started, you know, putting in the beads. So it's just a cute little guy. And honestly, I'm enjoying doing these little Chatelaine patterns as I wait impatiently for my supplies from European Cross Stitch. I'm enjoying doing the little ones partly as a way to get used to using the patterns and using my little tablet device to look at the patterns online, or not on electronically, because I've never done it before. So it's a good way to kind of like practice reading her charts and seeing, you know, because every designer is going to kind of like lay out their charts differently, and Chatelaines are kind of complex, you know, intricate sort of patterns, and so it is a good way to kind of just get used to it. I also, speaking of Chatelaines, worked on Kathy's violets a little bit this week, not a ton, but I did some more. Finished the second violet and continued with the border and started the third violet. I don't think I had this little back stitchy beady doodad last time. I love the middle with you know, and again, I changed the color of the beads, but I really like what I changed it to. I think it actually looks better than it would have with metallic beads. But yeah, so I worked on that a little bit. So when I do get all this stuff from European Cross Stitch, I think I'm going to do an extra video because I ordered enough that it will make, you know, an unboxing, a nice little unboxing. Then I have to decide what chart I'm going to do first, because I'm not going to start them all at once. I'm going to start one. I'm thinking maybe the green lace garden before the beaded tile. I'm thinking, just because, I don't know, it's just kind of a little bit more of like the traditional thing. The other two that I got, the Jessica Stitches and the Algerian Islets, those workshop patterns, I got paper copies of, and so I'm gonna have to make the decision on whether it will be worth it to struggle through the paper, or if I want to go ahead and just purchase the charts again. I don't know. So I have to wait until I get all the supplies. And again, I'm waiting because since I am not the kind of person to just stitch it on like a plain white or something like that, I really want to wait to get the specialty flosses and the beads to do kind of a color toss on the fabrics that I've picked. I have all the DMC and I've pulled it all, and I've already, you know, put it on my floss drops and everything like that, but I just don't want to start until I have all of the supplies. It's just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right if I started something without having everything in the kit. It just doesn't feel right to me. Okay, Bellatrix. All right, let me show you, what did I do with it? I just had it, oh, and then I moved it. All right, so Bellatrix, and I'm gonna actually take this off the scroll rod to show you guys, because, you know, until I got a scroll rod, I saw people using scroll rods, and I like had no idea really how they went together. So I figured there may be people out there who are new or who've never used a scroll rod and might be interested to see. So this is Bellatrix, and I put her on a scroll rod because I did want to do a little bit of beading on her. I didn't do so much that I would have to keep her on the scroll rod if I decided to do regular stitching. I could just do it in a hoop. I mean, you can do beading in a hoop too. The only reason that the scroll rod, for me, I feel is a good thing to have for a bigger project like this when you're beading, is because if you're not going to sit down and do it all in one session, which, let's be honest, I don't think I could do, you are going to need to move the rod or the hoop or whatever, and you don't want to crush any stitches. So anyway, so here she is, and I will show you a close-up in a minute because, well, I guess I can show you a close-up now. So the beading that I did her earring and this kind of part of her bodice and this little belty thing at her waist, and then I started beading the scepter, and then on another day I stitched on her and I stitched border, well, or around the window, and what else, and I did some purple in her shawl kind of thing. So I guess I don't need to take it off to show you, but I'm gonna hold it really close so you can see the beading, and hopefully that was like in focus and you can see it, because I can't tell. but I'm gonna go ahead and take her off the scroll rod to show you guys. So these little things actually are really great for helping with the tension, I found. I'm using these for everything now. Like, they're one of the best things I think that I found for stitching. Okay, so the scroll rod is, you got your stretcher bar part and then you got your rods. And this particular set, which is the Handy Clamp system by Edmunds. It's kind of just like a generic one, but I kind of really like it. So it comes with the these dealies. What are these called? Knobs. I've seen some pictures of like another set that the knobs are wood. I don't know if it would matter one way or the other. I don't have those. Kind of have two sets that are like this. Okay, and so then these come off. And see, you can actually, you know, vary the width. Okay, and then you've got your rods, which in this case are held on with a clamp. They do say put like fabric or something in between, and that's more to make it a little bit easier to get them off, but and these are just like wooden dowels. These are the 20-inch, and that's it. So they're not so difficult to put together as to like that. It's not so difficult to use them that I feel like I can't take them off between stitching sessions. If I feel like I'm going to want to, like, if I put them on because of beading, I could leave them on. The negative is that I don't have a way to like protectively store them. I mean the project if it's on the clamp. So so I'm not gonna probably leave things on them for a super long time just because of that. And I did get 2 sets, but again, you want to use a rod that is wide enough to hold your whole fabric, which I think for most like Mirabilia type projects, for me is gonna have to be the 20-inch because you know, I'm usually using a piece of 18 by 27 fabric. So yeah, the 14s or the 12s aren't gonna cut it. So don't want to lose that. Oops, sorry, baggy. Okay, so that was the handy clamps, and it's really not hard to take put the piece on and off. Putting it on is just the tiniest bit harder, like just to line it up and get it straight, but it's really not prohibitively difficult. So again, if you want to do beading and it's any bigger than like comfortable hoop or Q-snap size, then I think the scroll frames are pretty good. Okay. I worked on Bianca Bella by Mirabilia. as I've been saying every time, it still just looks like a blob, because I'm not anywhere yet. Now, I realize that right now, my fabric, I feel like, is competing with the stitches. I don't think that that is going to be the case as it grows. I mean, it's definitely not going to be the case, you know, with her hair and her skin and everything like that. And in this area of the dress, you know, while this is around it, it is competing a little bit. Basically, if I find when I get more of it stitched that it doesn't show as well or isn't popping out as much, I might backstitch, or I might add some back stitches and some darker colors around the edge, because the white is all inside the dress. So I mean, I really love this fabric, and I think it's gonna look really pretty, and you know, I'm willing to take the risk that I'm taking right now, and I think that I think it's gonna look good eventually, and I will be able to fix any issue. I also realized that when I started stitching on this, I was like, why does this seem like it's going slow? And I realized that it's because it's a 32 count fabric instead of 28, which is what I've been used to doing my fancy ladies on lately. So that's why it feels like, why is it still so tiny when I've worked on it a long time? It's because it's a smaller count. So I don't know, I may have an issue when I get to, but there's not very much beading on her. I think that's one of the reasons I didn't have a problem with it, is there's not very much beading. There's no sparkly fabric. I mean, there's no Krynic or anything on it. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. Last night, after I worked on the books for so long, my body was tired, my mind was tired. I didn't feel like stitching, but then I felt like stitching, but I didn't feel like stitching. So my solution in those instances is to pull out my little needle point, and I worked on that some more. So I filled in all down here, and actually I finished the basic stitching on the butterfly. There's back stitching all over this, so obviously that will come at the end. There's also these red threads that came that were supposed to be like French knots in the butterfly. I don't think I like it. I think it's gonna take away. I like the coolness of, I don't know. See, it's this red. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think that I should go ahead and put the red French knots and stuff? Or do you think it's jarring? Or do you think I should use like another color? I was thinking like maybe I could pull like a pink or a yellow or something if there needs to be a pop. But I just don't know that I like the red. So let me know what you think on that one. I also realized last night that my stitching on this is kind of crappy. I don't really care. I mean, some spots it looks really nice, and then I have like a couple stitches that are like, just don't look good. But, you know, again, nobody's going to be looking at it from like, you know, this close where you can see every single stitch. And I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, if I'm going to put it in a little frame, or if I'm going to make it into a little pillow, or if I'm going to put it in a stitch journal eventually when I figure out what I want to use for a stitch journal. I mean, I have that one that I made, like the very first thing I made, and it's cute. I mean, it is cute. It's this one. You know, and it actually would probably be a really good stitch journal. So maybe I should just get over myself and just start using it. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? You know, in my head, it's like, is this good enough to use for my stitching? But it's like, isn't it better to use it and put the stitching in it than have it sitting in a bag and not even accessible to look at? And I kind of like this journal. I mean, it's like a traveler's journal where you can take the pages in and out. So of course, if I don't like a page, I can pull it out very easily. But yeah, maybe I should. I'm gonna leave this out, and I'm gonna start thinking about putting some of the stitches that I have in there. I mean, it's gonna be great for like the little Mill Hill ornaments and stuff that, you know, are tiny and are taking. I have a couple of them on my shelves after I've glued them to something bigger, but I should start just using that, I think. But anyway, so I did this last night. I worked on it because didn't feel like stitching. I mean, I felt like stitching, but I did, you know how it is. Anyway, so I only have a little bit left in here of the basic stitching, and then there's a bunch of back stitching and embellishment. Maybe I'll put beads on it since I'm not in such a beady mood. Maybe instead of French knots, I'll put beads. There's a good idea. Thank you for suggesting that. Okay. What else? Little Snapdragon Jack. Jack the Snapdragon. Call him Jack because Jack was my grandpa's name, and the reason that I have fondness for Snapdragons is because I always used to play with them in his garden. I remember red and yellow ones. I don't remember any purple Snapdragons. My grandpa actually, he died when I was in 4th grade, so I was like 8 or 9. So, you know, I have memories, but not super strong memories of him. But I do remember he had like a really nice garden, and unfortunately, his garden was the death of him. He was stung by something in the garden, and actually died from anaphylactic shock from being stung by an insect. But yeah, so I saw this pattern, and I just thought it was nice to kind of honor my grandpa. So this is how far I am, and worked on his wing basically. He's really cute. I'm glad I did his head first because now he has personality, and I think in some ways it makes it easier to like stitch and pull out because it's like you're working on a friend. I didn't do that with Bianca Bella, and I think I should maybe move up and get into more of her face area. My fear in getting the faces done is then it's like twofold. One hand, do the face because then you're motivated because it's like she's a friend, right? But then the other hand is like when that's like the cool part, then when you're done with it, you know, it's easier to abandon the project. I don't know. I don't know which way is the better way. Last thing I worked on was my mini flower kitty by Jeremiah Kettner. Heaven and Earth Design, full coverage. I'm doing this on 28 count, 2/1 10th stitch. And I got into like kind of like the hot pinky little flower, so that was kind of exciting. Yeah, I actually am really liking doing the 10th stitch on the 28 count. And I kind of think that maybe going forward, with my Heaven and Earth quick stitches, that's the way I want to go, is use the slightly higher count fabric, but do 10th stitch instead of full crosses. So then it stays smaller, but I don't have any problem seeing with the 10th stitch on the 28 count. Yeah. Okay, so that was it. That was it for the stitching. But I do have some haul to show you that I'm kind of excited about. So okay. All right. So first thing, and I told you guys this that I, again, watching all of the different FlossTubers out there who are kind of like focused more on, let's say, Chatelaines and Mirabilias and Nora Corbett's and fancy ladies and beading and sparkly floss, all that kind of stuff, made me at least want to explore some of the other designers, especially really popular ones. I don't know why I'm taking this out of the bag. I don't need to. So I've been looking at Teresa Winsler. I don't, you know, honestly, with Teresa Winsler, it's beautiful, but I don't know if I like the old-fashioned tapestry look as much on those, but that's why I'm considering doing a small one. But then I also looked at the Joan Elliott's, and I picked this one, Poppy Fairy. I really liked her. I like a lot of her, like the Flower Fairy ones. I liked this one, several reasons. One, I like the fact that she's kind of sitting on the ground, because that's a little bit different than a lot of the other charts that I already have, like how they're positioned. And I liked the red. I don't have a lot of red. I have a lot of purple and green and blue and pink, but you know, and even like the Autumn Equinox Pixie, I was drawn to it because of, like, I mean, there is a lot of orange and yellow and stuff, but I like the magentas that pop out. But I don't really have a lot of red, kind of reddy orange. And I just like this one. So yeah, I went through my fabrics to try and find something. Joan Elliott does a lot on pole stitches, and I do have some pole stitches fabric that I've gotten from eBay. And then I ordered flosses. Sometimes, especially if I'm ordering from 123 Stitch, and if it's not a huge amount, like I would never do this with like a Haid type thing, which has like 100 colors, because that's still pricey. But when, you know, it's not that many, sometimes I'll just hit the get it all button and just get all the flosses, and so I don't have to go through my stash and look. Sometimes I do go through my stash and look. But anyway, I pulled out this pole stitch. It's a 28 count. Yeah, this is a 28 count Jobelan. It is not sparkly. It does have a name. Abyss. So I have this in my stash, and I think it's gonna look really nice. I think I'm gonna position her kind of like so her main part is on the yellow, so because the yellow part is kind of my least favorite part. I like it a little bit, but I don't really like this, you know, concentration of yellow right there. But I think that that's where I'm gonna put her. So you know, so she'll kind of be sitting in the yellow, and then all the colors will be around her, and I think that that's gonna look really nice. So I don't know when exactly I'm gonna start her. I still have to organize the flosses and stuff, you know, in essence kit her up, even though I have everything to kit her up. So I don't know exactly when I will start her. Again, I still have Florentina to start. She's all kitted up and ready to go. And I'm kind of like holding off, and I'm just holding on to these kitted up projects that I know I really want to start until I get that, you know, that new start, like desire. So I'm not going to start something just because I have it until I get that feeling. Right now, I'm more in a get stuff kind of done mode. So, but I am going to kit her up sooner rather than later. Maybe this week I'll do that. Get her in a project bag and, you know, set her out there to get started eventually. I had also, when I was trying to sign fabrics, I pulled these two. These are both hand dyed by Rolanda. I'm sure I've shown you this when I got them, but you know, they were sitting out here, so I figured I'd show them to you again because they're so pretty. They're both 28 count Monicos, and they're very similar. Now, one thing I did notice, I don't think I've ever actually stitched on Monaco, because I'm noticing the Monacos are just a lot stiffer and thicker. This one's darker than the other one. They're both really pretty. This I could totally see like a mermaid on this one. And when I say that they're thicker and stiffer, that's not necessarily a problem. I really like thick, creamy fabric to stitch on. And I'm sure that the stiffness will loosen up as you work with it. I mean, they're kind of like folded and, you know, they feel like they have sizing on them, but I don't think they do, but yeah, I don't think I've stitched on Monaco, at least I don't think. I'll have to go back and look. So the other bit of haul that I have to show you is more fabric, and this is fabric from Dyeing for Cross Stitch. Yeah. Dyeing for Cross Stitch. And I came across them through Laura from Stitching by the Shore. I was watching her. I had it in my head that I wanted to order fabric, which, you know, is not a very unusual occurrence with me. In fact, when I got this fabric, I went back on Dyeing for Cross Stitch, but I held myself back. I didn't buy anything, and I think I'll just wait. Maybe check every so often like I do with Rolanda and see. Her prices were really good, and you know, like a couple dollars less than what I'm used to paying for other companies. So, you know, so I got 4 pieces of fabric. Okay, so first one. Now, the one thing is that she has them in these plastic bags, and the labels are on the plastic bag, which I don't love. I'll see if I can peel them off and put them on the actual piece, because I don't keep them in the plastic. This is a smaller piece, but I wanted it because it was sparkly. This is a 28 count Lugana, pale and light aqua. It's not even showing at all. It's really pretty, but yeah, when I open it, the light is just going through it, and it like, but yeah, that's better. So this one is very subtly modeled, and it is sparkly, and I think that this could very well be a contender for one of the Chatelaines. So yeah, so in fact, I'm gonna put it, instead of putting it away, I'm gonna put it in my big bag of potential Chatelaine projects, because yeah, I really think that could be a contender. And since the Chatelaines I've ordered are smaller ones, I don't need a big piece, but you know, I'll have to see when I get them and really look into it. Okay, then the next 3, so that's Lugana, that's Monaco. Yeah, so I got 2 Monacos and a Lugana. They're, the 2 Monacos are 28 count, and they're similar. But again, and none of them are Opal. This is really pretty. And again, it's a Monaco. It feels a little stiffer. This is called Blues and Greens. It looks kind of like California. That's really pretty. It really does kind of like look like a topographical map. I really like getting pretty fabric. It's like, sometimes getting these raw materials, it's like it just sparks all of this creation feeling, you know, like you just want, you think of, it's like when you get a big pad of scrapbook paper or just a big haul of floss. And okay, this one is called Multicolored. And this one has got more green than, I mean, the emphasis is more on the green, and it also has more yellows and stuff and browns in it. Wait, did I flip it over? This one, at least at this point, makes me think more of like foresty type stuff as opposed to oceany type stuff. And then the last one is a 32 count, and this is a 32 count, and it's kind of dark. So I think I wouldn't have a problem seeing on it, but it's something to think about, although it's so pretty. I mean, I'm doing Bianca Bella, but Bianca Bella's on a lighter fabric, so I don't know. This is called Purples, Blues, and Pinks. But I can't pass it up. It was just so pretty. So, there you go. I am seriously getting the urge to want to go back to that site and see if there's anything else on there. Again, I got it really quickly because it's all in the ready to ship. That's the way I like to do it. And I know that there's people who get fabric, you know, they get a project and then they search for the right fabric. That's probably a more practical way to do things. My way is to find a fabric dyer that I like, who has ready to ship stuff. Order things that I just think are gorgeous, put them in my stash, and then when I get a project, then I go through my fabric boxes and pull out something that just makes me happy. So it means I have stash that maybe is frivolous, but I like it. And the thing too is, I've noticed like myself and also other people, when I watch FlossTubers, people go in waves of what they like as far as fabric. Like, there are times when it's like, I only want to stitch Aida, and I've seen people, FlossTubers, who are like, I only want to stitch Aida, and they get rid of everything else. And then 6 months down the road, all of a sudden they're into even weaves, or they're into linen, and they got rid of all of it. Or the opposite, like they never want to stitch Aida again, and they get rid of all the Aida, and then all of a sudden they're into Aida. So far I haven't done that. I haven't gotten rid of stuff. I keep wanting to do a fabric stash video, and I keep putting it off because I'm just not exactly sure how to do it, how to show you guys. I'm thinking though I have a lot of fabric that I've purchased recently, and I haven't like organized it, so I might do a video kind of like organizing it and showing how I do that, and then do the fabric stash kind of at the same time. I don't know how I'm going to show it. I think it'd be fun because I like watching fabric stash videos, especially people who have like a lot of over-dyed fancy fabrics. So, you know, I go along those lines. If I think I would like watching that video, then I think it would be a good video to make. So, I don't know, let me know what you think. If you guys would be interested in seeing fabric stash video. And I will try and get around to making it. So let's see. I think that's it. My plans, I need to get out my iron and iron my little blue jay. I put it in this frame just to see how it would look, and I think that this is the right size. It's gonna, you know, it looks good, but it's got a nice little crease that's only gonna come out from being ironed. I thought maybe it would come out if I put tension on it, but it's not, so I'm gonna need to iron it. And then get it actually finished and backed with some felt, and then mail it off to my friend. So, but there's your preview, Tracy. And I kind of got it like in there really like good, like centered right, but I'm gonna have to take it out to iron it. So yeah, so I gotta find my iron, set up an ironing station, which involves organizing my big mess of a desk here, which, you know, who knows when that's gonna happen. But I do need to do that. I have plans to do that. And then I got a mail phase gift this week. That's the second thing in my plans. And other than that, it's just more of the same. It's stitching on the projects that you've been seeing lately, the ones that are calling to me right now. And maybe trying to get a finish on the two little Chatelaines that I have going. Those are the only things that I think are in the running for actually getting any kind of finish in the next week or so. But yeah, just more of the same. Keep on stitching. So until I see you guys again, please remember to be content, be kind, and be crafty. This is Carla. Bye-bye.